Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So what's going on with Bitcoin today? Well, it was in the red again. I think it's just waiting on Powell to speak on Friday, whether Powell's going to be hawkish or dovish. I think that's going to be a big sentiment boost. Well, if he's dovish, it will be a big sentiment boost for Bitcoin and probably the markets too as well. Miners were down for the most part. There were only two that were in the green today. I don't have much as far as good news stories. I have two only, so we'll take a look at those for Bitcoin. And then we also will take a look at how much the miners have diluted year over year here based on the quarterly results for Q2. I'm still waiting on IREN, so IREN's data is going to be a little bit off here, but at least it gives us a little bit of an idea for them. Other than that, that should be it, and we'll get to Q&A. So as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with our little friend Bitcoin and the miners. See how they're doing right now. So Bitcoin continued to go down today. It was down another 1.57%. It closed at 112,480. I mean, it is just trying to get down to like this 100-day simple moving day average here, the blue line. It's getting really, really close to that. We have bounced off of this line here before, though, so maybe that's going to act as support here, maybe. And we bounce up higher from here, maybe. Let's see if back here we didn't really have the support. We had support back here roughly, and we got a little bit below it before we bounced up. So we'll see. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day after Powell speaks. It will be a determining factor, I think, the way the market goes here forward. And then obviously we have the September Fed meeting again. They're going to be obviously talking about raising or not raising, possibility of lowering interest rates. We'll see if that happens. I think it's still a pretty good chance of that happening, but we'll see. Markets were, for the most part, were down in the red today. Dow Jones, NASDAQ, S&P. Only one that was in the green was the Russell 2000. It was up 0.25 here. Ethereum today was also down just a little bit. It was down 2.58%. It's up on the new day as well. Miners, for the most part, were down. Bitfarms was down 2.38% on the day. BitDeer was down 2.55%. Kang was the only one, along with Mar, that were up. Kang was up 2.18% for some reason. Cypher was down just a little bit, 0.84. Cleanspark was down 1.69%. CORZ was down 2%. Hive was down 2.92%. Hut8 was down 4.21%. IREN was down a little bit, 0.86%. Mara, like I said, was up 0.39% here. Riot was down 2%. And Wolf was down a little bit as well, 0.97%. The Bitcoin treasury companies here, MicroStrategy was down 1.97%. From where it's been, it's low, right? It's at $337 right now. Last year in November, it was up to $540, so it's still way, way low here. Galaxy was down 2.24%. Block was down just a little bit, 0.12. Coin was down 1.35. MetaPlanet was down 0.6. Exodus was up 2.75 here. This is Nexon. Nexon was up a little bit as well. This one has had a nice run up here. Similar was down 3.56. That one's continuing to go down, similar to what Strategy is. Then we have Phoenix. Digital was down a little bit, 0.19. GameStop was down 0.31. Small miners were mixed again today. The opposite of what happened, I think, yesterday here. Annie, DigiPower, and Mawson were the ones that were up. The other three were down. Bitcoin miner ETFs here were all in the red here, about 1%, roughly 1 and 1.5%, something like that. The Ethereum treasury companies here, BMNR was down 8% today. BitDigital was down 1.4. BTCS was down 3.3. Game was actually up 1.1 here. And SBET was down 7.34. Bitcoin dominance here today was actually up a little bit. It was up 0.32%. It's down in the new day on it as it is right now. Miners after hours here, they are kind of mixed right now. BitDeer is down 1.59. Bitfarms is flat. Kango is down 0.43. Cypher is up just a little bit, 1.69%. Cleanspark is up a little bit as well, 0.32%. Core is up 3.34%. Hive is up a little bit, 0.43. Hut8 is up 0.56. IREN is down 1.68%. Mara is actually up now 0.06%. Riot is up 0.65%. TeraWolf is down 0.44%. Bitcoin for the month of August, we're down 2.56%. Not what I expected. I expected us to be a little bit better here for August. Historically speaking, in these bull run years, right, 2021, 2017, we had a positive August here. Maybe that trend is going to be broken here. We'll see. We still have a couple more days to go. We got about 10 more days to go. We'll see where we end up in August. I'm still hoping that we get positive. Whether it's going to be 3, 4, 5%, that would still be nice, though, but we'll see. On that one, Bitcoin ETF inflows, well, another red day here for it. So we've had 5, it looks like, days in a row of outflows of Bitcoin ETFs here. Yesterday, BlackRock reported 220 million decrease there. We'll see where they come in for today, tomorrow. And then some of the good news stories that we have here on Bitcoin here really quick. If we look at those things here, we can see that Senator Loomis says President Trump is supporting her bill to buy 1 million Bitcoin. It's happening, right? But we need to get that bill passed that they're working on for the Treasury there on Bitcoin. And that would be a huge catalyst, obviously, to pump Bitcoin up higher here. If that was the case. And then this here, breaking 6 trillion, banking giant UBS says Chinese family offices plan to invest 5% in Bitcoin. Asia is waking up. Let's go. That would be huge if they do that. I think even if they do 1%, anywhere between 1 and 5%, that's going to be huge here. And it's just not going to be Asia. I think it's going to be all over the world. That's going to be happening here. It's just a matter of time on that one. All right. So the only thing, that's all I got for you guys here on this stuff. We're going to take a look at the miners here as far as dilution here next. And that is going to be pretty short and sweet as well. We do have all the data on these guys here, except for IREN. Like I said, IREN, I'm still waiting on their, basically it's their fiscal year end, but it's going to be their Q4 numbers. So I'm using their Q4 numbers from last year, which are our Q2 numbers. And then using their Q3 numbers here for them, which is our Q1, because I don't have the data on it. So it's going to be off a little bit here. So maybe we'll update this when IREN reports next week, I believe on Thursday, which is today. So we'll get this updated. We'll see where IREN maybe held up at that point, okay? But here's what we got. So we're looking at Q2 2024 shares. Latest shares from Q2 of this year, right? What was the dilution there? How many shares did they dilute? Percentage dilution. We're also looking at their Q1. That should be Q2 hash rate. Q2 2024 hash rate and their current hash rate end of Q2 for 2025. The difference on that, dilution per petahash, revenue for Q2 of 24, and then current revenue for Q2 of 2025, difference in that, and then per diluted share revenue there, okay? So when we look at these metrics down here, shares diluted, we can see Cleanspark diluted the least here, at least, it looks like right now, with 32,964,000, right? This is going back to Q2 of last year. So they stopped diluting in November. So basically between June and November, they diluted about 32, 33 million shares at that point, but they've diluted here very, very little as it is now. IREN diluted about 36, right? But this is only for 3/4 of data that we have for them. Core 47 million, Cypher 64 million, Riot 66 million, BitDeer 70 million, Marathon 75, almost 76 million there, and Hive 87 million. Hive definitely has diluted a lot, but they've been growing quite nicely here this past year. So percentage of diluted shares, Cleanspark only 13%, Core 18%, IREN 19%, Cypher 19.5%, pretty close to IREN as well. Riot 21%, Marathon 25%, BitDeer 55%, and Hive 74%. So definitely a lot of dilution there in Hive, right? Hash rate growth, IREN came in number 1 with about 40 exahash in growth here year over year. Cleanspark came in second with about 30 exahash, Marathon about 26.8 roughly, Riot at 13 exahash, BitDeer at 9.2 exahash, Cypher 8.2 exahash, Hive at 6.3, and CORZ actually down 1.3 exahash, maybe even more than that now. They might be like down 2 exahash, I think, from where they started at. So when we look at shares per petahash dilution here, Core came in negative because they have a negative number here for petahash. So discount that. IREN looks like it only diluted about 915 shares per petahash, which is the best, but that's only on 3/4, right? We're waiting on the other quarter here. So we'll see if they can keep that top spot there. Otherwise, I think Cleanspark might take that with 1,114 shares per petahash. Marathon came in second with 2,835 shares per petahash. Riot 4,912, BitDeer 7,633, Cypher 7,858, and Hive 13,685 at that point. Next, when we look at per diluted share revenue increase here, so how much did the revenue increase from prior quarter to this current quarter, and divided by, take the number of shares divided by that, I believe, is the math on it. We can see that IREN, you actually got $3.37 per share increase there. Cleanspark 2.87. Again, IREN, like I said, it's only 3/4 here, so we'll see where that comes in at. Marathon $1.31, Riot $1.29, BitDeer 25 cents, Cypher 11 cents, Hive 9 cents, and Core, you actually had a negative impact on that because their revenues for, let me see here, where's Core? Core. Revenue, right? Revenue went down 48 million from the prior quarter. And that's because they've been focusing on HPC AI with CoreWeave. So they've been operating old machines there for Bitcoin mining, and that's a result of that. Even with Bitcoin price going up, they've been decreasing their hash rate, running on low machines. Hash rate has been network hash rate has been increasing. That's a result of that. So it is what it is with them right now, as it is. Okay. So there are obviously companies that are doing pretty good here as far as dilution and what you're getting for it. It looks like on this, I would say IREN, Cleanspark, and even Marathon. I would say Riot to a certain extent as well. Those guys are doing pretty good here. Hive, like we talked about, they spent a lot of cash to buy sites, to build out sites, to buy machines as well. Where a lot of these guys have done that in the past, but again, we got like Marathon hodling everything and pretty much diluting at that point as well. But they also have grown quite nicely now. We'll see what their operations is like for August here in about a week and a half or so. Will that improve from what they saw in July? I don't know. Same thing for like Cleanspark. Cleanspark didn't have a great July either. IREN had a fantastic July. So we'll see if some of those guys can come back up here to be more efficient in operations. And I think that might be the case here, at least with Cleanspark. Mara, I'm not sure. We'll see. And now on latest data that I saw in them, I think Cleanspark was kind of beating them a little bit in production-wise for Bitcoin for the month so far, at least. So we'll see where Mara comes in at that point, and everybody else as well. But this just kind of gives you an idea of where the miners are year over year with dilution, hash rate growth, revenue growth, all in one little snapshot here, which is kind of useful as well to see where they are at right now. Okay, so that is it. That's all I got for you guys. As always, right, spreadsheets are available to Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description. A couple bucks a month, help support what I do. And right, if you enjoy this type of content as well, subscribe, hit the like button, and yeah, that's it. Let's get into Q&A here. So what do you guys have to say? We may need to open up the Bitcoin miners support group, possibly, with everything that's going on this week with miners and Bitcoin coming down here. But I think I'm still hoping it's short-lived. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see where tomorrow goes after Powell speaks on that one. All right, let's get into Q&A here. I'm rambling on here like an old man. As always, if you guys could preface the questions with the question mark or Q, I would appreciate it. And then also be kind and polite in the comments. I would appreciate that as well. All right. Okay. Roger says, honestly, the macro environment looks sketchy at best. Long-term tariff effect on economy inflation is sticky. Jobs not doing good. Yeah, it is a little tricky there, right? That's going to, we'll see what, I mean, the Fed has a dual mandate, right? Jobs and basically inflation. So it's a tough balancing act when you have tariffs coming in as well. All right. Fairfax asks, hey Seb, what would happen if the miners formed a cartel and started reducing their output? Not sure why this hasn't happened yet. Why would they reduce output? Somebody else is going to come in there and operate at that point. That doesn't make any sense. It's not like with oil fields, right? Oil, you have a cartel there basically, and they do, there's only so much oil being pumped out. You can't just easily open up another well quickly. So I think that's the reason why. For me, that wouldn't make any sense for them to do a cartel. Let's see. Roger says someone will just plug in and mine BTC for cheap. Yeah, that's the main reason there. It doesn't make sense. Let's see. Dad's Market Stats says the market is pricing in a hawkish Jerome Powell tomorrow. And if we get dovish, that would be a good thing. Then we go to the races here. Let's see. Creative Media asks, Sebastian, have you considered looking at the miners against their Bitcoin pairs on their channel, i.e. Mara versus BTC, etc., rather than just looking at Mara or the other Bitcoin miner charts? I have done that, and I think I have it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I have it for all the miners here, but I thought I had it someplace where I had the pairs. Did I have it here? Not that one. Not that one. Okay, I do have for some here. Let's see here. I think this is what you're talking about here. Let's go take a look at this over here. I got Cleanspark against BTC, USD. Right, did that pop up? You can kind of see that action there. Mara as well. I have that. I do look at that every once in a while. IREN, same thing. I think I got the, what is that? RUT versus SPX, IWM versus IXI, Cleanspark versus IXI, IREN versus IXIC on that one. Somebody pointed those out to me as well at some point. So I do look at them from time to time. All right, go back here. Okay. Daniel Uber said, question, did you see Rex Finance's co-PM about Cleanspark considering HPCI? Hilarious. No, I didn't see it. Let me see if I can find it really quick. What did he say there? What was this? Because I think at one point, was it earlier this year or last year, he said that if Cleanspark goes into HPCI, he would sell them and buy Cypher or something like that. Is that what you're talking about there? Let me see here. Let's see if we can find it here. Let's take a look for Rex Finance. At Rex, let me see, Finance, there it is, Rex Finance. Okay. I don't see anything here popping up. When was this? August 11th, August 13th. I'm just looking at some of the posts there. Yeah, I don't see it. So I might have missed it. But let me know what that was all about. All right, let's go back here. Okay. Everyday Mommy and Moon says the volume keeps getting lower and lower, like the miner's price action. I'm trying to limit the amount of background noise that you guys hear. And I have the mic pretty close to my face already as it is. I'm not a very loud speaker as it is. Pretty soft-spoken usually. So I don't have that presence, I guess you could say, as a speaker would, like somebody that's trained to be a speaker, right? I don't have that. Let me see if I can bump it up here a little bit more on this. We'll go to 32 on the level. Hopefully this kind of helps out a little bit at least on it. And then let me see, where's my level output on this? Level, let me see if I can pump this up. I got it 73. All right, this should maybe pump it up here on the app itself. If I pump it up to 90, let's just do 93. Hopefully that helps as well. And you guys aren't hearing a lot of background noise at this point. But I appreciate you telling me that. Sir Mellon Gaming asked, what did Rex say? Yeah, what did Rex say? Yellow Gambler question, is Cleanspark considering HPCI? Yes, they're considering. They're looking at their sites to see if there's HPCI potential there. All right, it makes sense. I mean, that's kind of where things are moving right now. If you can get that, that'd be great. I'm not against it. I was, if they wanted to stay a Bitcoin miner, pure play, I was fine with that too. Because I have IREN as a Bitcoin miner and HPCI. I got Cypher as more of a, I would say, HPCI play than a Bitcoin miner, because they would definitely need to increase their hash rate to get to scale on Bitcoin mining side of things. And they're only getting 23 exahash later on this year. And then what else do I have there? I got Bitfarms as well. Bitfarms is at 17 exahash, right? They're also looking for HPCI, so I'd be fine either way with them. Let's see. Sour Melon says, question, Seb, I'm starting a Bitcoin mining company. You want in? We'll start you at $30 million a year. I'm in. If at that rate, yeah, heck yeah. We got to get a lot of investors though. But yeah, you know what? I would do it. I'll give you a discount. I would do it for $3 million a year. I don't need that 30 million. 3 million a year for a couple of years, that would do me a lot of good. I'd be happy with that. JPBFX Trading question, what do you think about Cleanspark HPCI potential? Personally, it seems like they don't have the best infrastructure to pursue it, beside the fact that they are late to the party, slowly losing faith in Cleanspark. I think it's fine that they're getting into it. Are they a little late? Maybe, right? But I also look at it this way. Sometimes being late might be a benefit. Not always, but sometimes it might be. So they do have a lot of sites. They have, 32, 33 sites. The sites are smaller. We know that. Most of their sites are probably sub 50 megawatts. And then they have a couple sites that are like, I think 100 to 200 megawatts. So those potentially, but they could also go work with, smaller customers, like enterprise customers that need, 15, 20 megawatts or something like that for their stuff. So it's doable, I think, but it also depends on the location. Do they have redundancies in fiber? That's the big thing. And then can they just, do they have enough space at those sites to build out redundancies in power and things like that? So I'm sure they're looking into it. And maybe we'll get some updates from them later on this year when they do have something concrete on it. Okay. SH, okay. Question here, which is better buy for now and the future, like 1 to 2 years from now? Hive, oh gosh, both of those are tough. I would say I think Bitfarms might be a better one. I think only because they have the sites in Pennsylvania, which we're seeing a lot of action happening there right now with TeraWolf. TeraWolf is in Pennsylvania as well. So I think that might be a good catalyst there for them. Hive, again, like I said before, Hive, I mean, they're doing great this time around this year, growing to 25 exahash by the Thanksgiving holiday. So the only caveat with them is they don't have any operations in the United States. They have signed up with, was it Canada Bell or something like that, for some sovereign HPCI deals. That's kind of nice there as well. But I just don't know if they're going to get the love from investors here, which obviously you're seeing a lot of investors that want to invest in companies that are United States based a lot of times. So I don't know if that's going to be a detriment to them, maybe. That's the only thing I would, kind of hit Hive on a little bit. Let's see. Bevneed says, these miners are holding up pretty good considering the Bitcoin dip, especially Mara. Yeah, they are holding up considerably not that bad, right? I mean, they're down a little bit, but they're not down a lot. So that might be a good sign here. Okay. Steve G says, Wall Street will never value Cleanspark higher than its HODL value unless they pivot to HPC. You might be right there, right? I think Bitcoin going up would be a tremendous help, not only to them but to everybody else. But Bitcoin has to go up on a nice rally for a continued amount of time, whether it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, whatever it's going to be. Bitcoin needs to go up on a nice little rally here, without having these sideways movements and pauses in action for an extended period of time. All right, Andrea says, you sound great to me. Great, appreciate that. All right. The voice volume is much better. Okay, perfect. All right, thank you. Des Market. Trump Jr. said there's a country stack into it. BTC, and BTC will definitely hit 1 million. Yeah, I saw that too. Talked about it yesterday. That's a good sign there. Steve G. Pure play BTC mining is dead to Wall Street because there are now so many other ways to invest in BTC, i.e. treasury companies, MicroStrategy, etc. Yes, but even those guys are not performing as well as they have last year at least. So, right, because either dilution or you have the preferreds with MicroStrategy, right? How much of a premium should they really get? I don't think they should get that much of a premium. I think they should be, maybe 1.15 to maybe 1.2, somewhere around there. Maybe at most 1.3 premium for a period of time while Bitcoin or Ethereum is going up. But they should never have like a 2x premium on it. Mark says, I am mentally exhausted from the BTC miners. Yeah, they've been definitely challenging here. I will agree with you there. It's definitely different from what we saw last cycle 2021. And it also depends on when you got into them, right? If you get in higher prices, yeah, it's tough to be in these guys. You really need to kind of like dollar cost average into them in the bear market when things are going down. And at that point, I think you still will do very good, potentially, right? You might not get the 20 or 70x that we saw 2021, but at least you'll get the 3 to 5x maybe, right? Or maybe better than that. I mean, IREN's already up, 17x from the bottom where it bottomed out here. So some of these guys are up still 3, 4, 5x already. So if they can at least do another 2x from where they are right now, I think that would still be really good. Okay. Let's see. Benny says Bitcoin needs to go up. Yeah. Sarmelin says MicroStrategy is getting close to a 50% pullback off the peak. Yeah. Well, it did that already. Let me see here. MicroStrategy. Where is it at? MSTR. If you look at that one here, let's go to this. Yep, there we go. Right, it was down quite a bit here from the peak. The peak was 540, 542, right there. And we went all the way down here. We were down 57% at one point. Right now, we are down from the peak 39% roughly. Today, yesterday we bounced, and today we're down 38% on it. So it's still quite a bit. Miners are the same way for the most part. If you look at some of these guys here, Cleanspark, where it came in at, right? So it's kind of like it was up to, was up even higher at one point here, but we'll look at the same time frame more or less in November of last year. Cleanspark got up to 17.99. It's down from that 49%. It bottomed out at approximately 64% roughly on that one. Who else do I have here? Cypher, maybe we'll take a look at that one. Same thing. If we look at it here, where's November? November back here. So a lot of these guys pumped at that point. Cypher was down 75%. It's now at least only down 26%. So the guys with the HPCI plays are performing better than like the pure plays. Even more, I think, is not doing that great here, right? It boosted up here in November as well. It was up to $30. It went down approximately 67%. We're down now approximately 50% from there as well. So yeah, it hasn't been a good year for, well, not only the strategy companies, but also for the miners for the most part, except for if you look at IREN here. IREN has actually done the best here from November, which was back here roughly. We could go over here, I guess. Let's do it here, right? It went down approximately 60%, and now it's actually up from that point to the top where it reached at 21. It was up 64%. So I think that's the only one that has kind of done that, right? Am I right on that? Bitfarms has been beaten down. BitDeer, same thing, is still down. Kang is down. Cypher is down. Cleanspark is definitely down. CORZ got close to it here with the news of CoreWeave. Hive is down. Hut 8 is down as well. IREN is the only one. Looks like Mara is down. Riot got close here, right? Riot got pretty close to that, bouncing back up here. Wolf is the other one that has outperformed here recently, right, from where it was in November of last year. So kind of interesting that only two of these guys have done well, and that's mainly because, well, Wolf got a deal with FluidStack and Google there, and IREN is, on the suspicion that they're going to get an HPCI deal as well, doing pretty good here. They're also a great operator at Bitcoin, right? They're probably the best Bitcoin operator right now as it is. So that's maybe why. But I think it's also for the HPCI side of things. So it is interesting how things have played out. Bitcoin, on the other hand, from November of last year, right? February, where is it at? January, November, December. We got to go back a little further because this one's trading daily here. November, so it was around 99,000 in November. So this one has gone up to the top here, above 25% from there, and we're only 12% from that point right now. So Bitcoin is really not even doing that well, all things considered, right? We've historically would have been having like a nice rally here in the prior cycles with Bitcoin going into the fall and into wintertime. A year after the halving event, we should be doing much better here, but we're not even with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's being, I wouldn't say manipulated or anything like that. I think it's just been taken over by Wall Street. And you're not going to have these huge rallies, going up 300, 400%, 500% in a year. We're going to be seeing gains of 20, 30, maybe 50% at most going forward here, I think, which is going to be a little bit interesting, I guess. But it's going to go up, I think, for a longer period of time. So that might be a good thing there, okay? That's just my 2 cents on that one. All right, let's go back here, see if there's any questions here. All right, talked about that one. Hold on a second. Where am I at here? Talked about that one. Okay, let's see. Let just join. Is Cleanspark going into HPCI? They are talking about it, yes. Mr. X here, do you think that if Cleanspark just come out and announce they are going into HPCI, this could be a catalyst for their share price? Well, Matt has somewhat stated that at the SALT conference just a couple of days ago, that they are, was it Tyler Monick is working on something with AI, right? So, and they're all looking at the sites. So they mentioned it a little bit, but I think they need to come out and say, these are the sites that we think are potential for HPCI. Here's how many megawatts what you have right now. I think that would be a good sign, right? So they need to do that research, figure out which ones would be possible, come out with a list. How many megawatts would that be? How many megawatts do they have in pipeline potentially for the future? And that would maybe be a good catalyst at that point. Dad's Market Stats says the BTC stays above 6 figures in September. There may not be a bear cycle. Kind of what I'm thinking too. Okay. JB says McNally Power Mining did a great video on Cleanspark HPCI vid today. Yeah, they looked at some of the sites there, right? But yeah, we'll have to wait and see until Cleanspark comes out with something more definitive on that. We can what is it called? Sideline coach or whatever the heck it is, right? From the sidelines, but those guys really know what's going on there. They know what they have as far as infrastructure, where fiber goes through those facilities. Are they near, and all that other stuff. Let's see here. Cleanspark should merge with HPCI company. I'm not sure why they would do that. Okay, Des Market Stats says I'm ranked 13 minor matters. Congratulations, that's awesome. I don't even know where I'm at right now. I haven't checked it in a while. I do have IREN. IREN should be doing pretty good for me. So, but the other one, Bitfarms is doing kind of good. The other one, Cleanspark's kind of dragging me down though a little bit. But recently, even Bitfarms has been down here this past week. So, all right, that is it. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. We're coming to all the questions here. Let's see here. I got one coming in from S. Ramani. S. Ramani says, Norcross and Dalton sites in Georgia have potential. I think so. Let me see if we can pull up Cleanspark's website here really quick. Look at their sites that they have. Cleanspark.com. Let's take a look. I wish they would, in the presentation deck, let me see if they have operations overview. Maybe in their presentation deck, they might have the sites listed in, as far as what they have there. Let's see what we got here. In here, we got, well, Tennessee's got a lot of sites. Let's take a look at this. I should probably pull this up for you guys. Tennessee's got Bitcoin mining sites in Jackson, Lenore City, Limestone, Maynardville, Crossville, Decatur, Jellicoe, Oneida, New Tazewell, and Winfield. Georgia's got a bunch of sites too. College Park, Norcross, Washington, Centersville, Dalton, Baxley, Vidalia, Swainsboro, and Twin City. Mississippi's got Vicksburg, Meridian, Wiggins, Clinton. Utah's got corporate office, Woods Cross. This one's got corporate head in Nevada. Why do we have two corporate offices? Probably should get rid of one. And then Wyoming's got Cheyenne there. So we do have only 4 states of mining. Do we have anything else? Let me see if we got newsroom, investors. Let's take a look at investors. See if we got anything as far as presentation, latest investor presentation. There we go. See what they show on that one really quick. It'd be nice if they dialed it all up per site. What is each one? But I'm not sure that's in here. Let's see. Mississippi, contracted megawatts 63, mining locations 5, right? So if you take that by 5, so you got maybe 12 megawatts per site on average. On that one, Georgia, you got 12 sites with 508 megawatts. So now you're looking at roughly, what would that be, about 50 megawatts per site, roughly, 45, 50 megawatts per site. Same thing, and then Tennessee's got 234 megawatts right now, and that's 13 locations. So you're looking at, what is that going to be, 20 megawatts per site, roughly, at those. And then Wyoming's got contracted megawatts, 110 megawatts, which would get us about 50 megawatt sites. So on average on those two. Energy, let's see, do we have it? Anything else here? I don't think so. Okay, global assets. Okay, let's see what we got here. Global assets, management, Zach, probably need to take Zach out of there. Appendix, and financial figures. Today we have sites, we don't. Okay, yeah, so unfortunately we don't. We could probably look through their quarterly results. I think it might be listed in there as far as what their sites are on it. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they come back with as far as which site has potential for it. Going back here. All right. Bevney says, all I am looking for is a double from here and I am out. Yeah, I'd be happy by the end of the year to get a double as well. I think minimum, I would be happy with a minimum of a double here from these guys. Well, from everybody in the mining space here. That'd be great. Okay. As Romney says, Sandersville site looks subpar compared to Riot, Bitfarms, Black Pearl, etc. They do. Right, smaller sites. But you never know. Bevney says, I don't want 4x or 5x. I just want a double from current price. I'd be happy with that too. Heinze asks, Seb, you worried about Cleanspark? No, I'm still not worried. I'd be worried if I had it at a much higher price. My average price is like $5 something. So I'm still in the green on them quite nicely here. And I think as Bitcoin goes up, I think they'll go up as well. If they announce something for HBCI, that's a bonus, right? All right, SH, if Bitcoin price is at 250,000 and up, would we see any Bitcoin miners reverse their decision about HBCI and go back to focus on mining? That's a good question there. They have, I think a lot of these guys have stated that at a certain point, Bitcoin might be more profitable than HBCI. So then the question comes back to, which is my big question on HBCI, especially the guys that are buying HPC units, right, GPUs. What is the ROI on those things, right? That's my big question here right now. We don't know really. So, all right. Strumney says, Grok says, College Park, Norcross, and Dalton are the likely possible sites, but even then each site is only around 50 megawatts. Okay, yeah, so, and again, right, they probably wouldn't get a deal with like a hyperscaler, but they would probably get a deal with like enterprise customers at those sites. Would still be, might actually be more profitable per megawatt than if you go with like a hyperscaler that's getting 200, 500 megawatts because you're giving basically a discount at that point. All right. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name. I apologize in advance. Abhilash, I'm sorry. What are your projections on Cypher for year end? Man, if they get a deal for HBCI, which they are pretty, it seems like they're pretty confident that they will, I think the stock will definitely at least double from there, but depending on the deal that they get also, I think. Then Bitcoin goes up as well. That should help out also. So that's kind of where I would see those guys, right? We kind of saw that happen with Wolf here. Wolf basically doubled here in a couple of days on the news with the deal with FluidStack and Google there. So that's kind of what I would expect, at least. Okay, all right, that's it. We're going to call it a day. We're at going on, we're not doing too bad. We're a little bit over half an hour. So we're actually doing pretty good here. All right, everyone. I greatly appreciate you guys coming in here as always, right? I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday tomorrow. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see what Powell will say, if anything interesting. We'll definitely cover it. We'll see what the miners do. We'll look at some other metrics on the miners as well. But again, thank you so much for coming in. Greatly appreciate you guys. Love you all. I will see you guys tomorrow.